various stuff because they can just ignore it.
See, the beauty of having they'll say like this is that when people are not actually willing to challenge and discuss with Eastern Orthodox, but pretend that they are, then you can do this.
The church had since defected. I would say for me, I probably wouldn't go Oriental Orthodox because of my strong belief in the Filioque. So I probably.
How about the Council of Chalcedon? Like, is everything has to relate to something papal? Like, do you not believe in councils at all?
Probably would call Father James and ask him where I should go to church in Colorado, because
of course Colorado.
Because
I guess we haven't Catholic parishes there, so
we haven't even really discussed the Filioque, I guess, that much in this video. But like I see Alan Rule, for example, bringing up in the chat the Filioque at the Synod of Hatfield. So I took out one of my favorite books, The Ecclesiastical History of the English People.
I want to lower the volume a little bit because I'm a little bit confused why people have these Roman Catholic, why I'm not Orthodox streams, but they don't ever invite Orthodox on. Like, I'd really like to understand that. And now this is really a cruel thing to do, I would think, is to go live while they're going live. I think it would be much more difficult since they won't actually let any Orthodox argue, I may as well.
I don't think I could maintain orthodoxy. Again, I'm like Pine Sap. I don't even like the question because it's like asking me if there's a square circle. Like, obviously from my vantage point,
that's not exactly only am I what it
convinced, in a natural manner,
1,000%.
People are going to start calling me Mormon in the replies probably. But, there's a burning in the bosom. Like, I think, like Catholicism, I think is supernatural.
It's all a big hug box for papacy. It's
demonstrably fruitful in my life in such a way that I have zero doubts about its veracity.
All of them are welcome to a debate.
So with all the necessary qualifications as to, I don't think this is possible. I think the question is nonsensical. If Catholicism is false, atheism is probably true. But fundamentally, I think that if I were to be anything not Catholic, it would probably be more in the Anglo-Catholic direction for the reasons stated.
Oh, okay.
I think the hypothetical question is important because it kind of helps the listeners to understand.
I don't know. I'm willing to debate them. I'm willing to debate any of these people. As a matter of fact, because I'm willing to debate them all at once, even though when you have that many, they can interrupt and stuff. But I think that, quite frankly, none of them are making good arguments. So far, I've heard that marriage is indissoluble, isn't historically tenable.
Then secondly, let's say the nature of God, who God is.
It's indissoluble in a spiritual sense, but it was always legally present in the Christian
relationship with each other. So here we touch the issue of the filioque, divine simplicity, and so on. Then
the filioque is my favorite because it's just all kinds of interpolations and forgeries.
What's the whole economy of salvation here? The questions of, let's say, election, grace, anthropology, and so on. And so it's just to say, like, because, of course, there's a core theology, and then there are more tangential issues as you move out from the core. And because
I'm willing to have these people on fundamentally, but I don't think they want to debate. They want to
Christians
kind of
the core together. I don't think there are any
circle the wagons,
really fundamental disagreements. Let's say about the nature of God or Christology, all the let's say, the order of salvation in the broad strokes between Lutherans, Anglicans,
welcome on, guys,
and the Roman Catholics. Then I think that when we compare this core to the Eastern Orthodox, then I think that we no longer share this like core. And the hypothetical question is not to try and, let's say, oh, that's because you think there's, let's say, 0.5% chance that Roman Catholicism is false. Of course not. It's
there's
not
a huge percent chance that it's false.
Try and make these very like abstract theological prioritizations concrete in a sense, because I mean not all theological questions are
I think there's a way we could make it more concrete.
Well, of course, some areas are far more central than others.
I think another. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say I can kind of agree with you, Michael, on that, because I do think that there's obvious degrees of reason that we would grant. Like,
yes, this hug box is live.
All of us would agree that Presbyterianism is more reasonable than like Scientology or something like that.
That explains why you're not Eastern Orthodox.
I think for
Presbyterianism
me
and
personally, when it comes to that issue, is I tend to think in extremes. So to me, it has to be kind of an all or nothing sort of thing, where
all
it's
or
like,
nothing.
if I'm not Catholic, then I would have to. Then I don't know.
I'd have to be anything but Orthodox. That's what you want to say. You want to say I will be anything but Orthodox
and councils in the first place. So I would probably have to go much more to a rigid, maybe a slightly extreme form of sola scriptura, where I'm just trying to
Protestantism.
take
You'd
what
rather
we
go
know
to
the apostles
Protestantism than
handed
become
down
Orthodox
to us and interpret it from there, rather
No,
because
not
I
only do
think
they
that
not talk
my
about
issue with
anything
the
else,
Oriental
but they
Orthodox and the
refuse to
Eastern
actually
Orthodox
engage others
is, to me, it seems
about
like they
anything else.
just willfully
It's
grant
just a
all
hug
these
box.
councils and
They won't. No, I already
traditions,
tried. I was
but
actually
then
in the
when it
chat, and they
comes
actually
to stuff
booted me
that
from
they
the chat.
disagree with, that the Catholics agree with, then it like becomes this very rigid skepticism sometimes. And it's like, and then they'll become really skeptical and critical of Catholic traditions that they're not willing to grant their own traditions. So, and it just seems kind of like an epistemic inconsistency to me. So I feel like I would have to go to almost a lowest common denominator sort of mentality. So
Anything
maybe even
but
something a little lower
Orthodoxy.
church in that regard. But
yeah, this because that actually builds exactly on the point that, before I rudely interrupted you, was actually going to bring up, and that is a somewhat difficult question, because objectively on some level, now Michael is right, there is a certain core that the Western has that you may have to shed if you went Eastern, but on some level, like Eastern Orthodoxy is closer to Catholicism in the sense of like whether it be as ecclesiology or sacramentology and stuff like that.
I'm willing to have any of these people on for a discussion / debate.
Just because they are closer to us on some like external level, like there's still the problem of internal consistency. Just because someone may be closer to agreeing with you doesn't mean that their position may be as internally consistent as someone who's further away. Like even in politics, you can kind of think of that, like someone who's moderate, for example, they're going to be closer to Pine Sap politically than someone who's, say, communist.
If we're not going to be
on some level, at least a communist person,
that's exactly
they
what
on some
we're
level
dealing
be
with.
more internally coherent than the moderate who's just kind of pushing stuff together.
Well, how do you comment the bishop who ordained the woman? Give me a second.
John,
that's for questions and answers on Sunday. Save that. I'm gonna actually answer that on Sunday. We are going to deal with
it. Doesn't necessarily mean that is the default, and that maybe some sort of low church actually is more internally coherent. If
anything but Orthodoxy,
it would very possibly undermine various
fundamentalism, low church Anglicanism, anything but Orthodoxy.
Also, are here to an Eastern Orthodoxy, if that makes sense.
And for the record, just to answer the question here,
my thoughts are
we do not, true Orthodox, do not accept that ordination. They've been planning this since 2017, though.
Somehow I discovered that Anglo-Catholicism or Anglicanism itself, just in general, just is not true. I would probably go Old Catholic, if not Old Catholic, then Lutheran. And with all these, we're talking about Old Catholic or Lutheran that are traditional, have apostolic succession.
Anything but Orthodox.
So apostolic succession is essential for me. After that, I actually would go Oriental Orthodox, like Pine Sap, and part of that is it's very similar to
Monophysite.
The reason
anything but Orthodoxy
is that those first 4 ecumenical councils I see as like incredibly important. And that there's more consistency in the Oriental Orthodox approach, even though I obviously very much disagree with their Miaphysitism.
Wow. Just wow. These people are willing to go to any heresy.
Development of
anything but Orthodoxy.
At least with the Anglicans, we've made agreements with them on sort of Christological clarifications and things like that.
That's definitely.
But then after that, it would be Eastern Orthodoxy, and then after that, it would be one form of Roman Catholicism.
We're like I don't third place.
It might get some eyebrows raised, but
I'm kind of curious. Instead of
I grew up low church, Anglican Baptist, and being atheist. Orthodoxy is alive.
Orthodoxy. Obvious reasons, I guess. I don't want to go into that. But obviously,
can I ask what kind of sedevacantism? Like
the Diamond Brothers,
like the ones that say like he materially holds the office but not formally.
Well,
are we talking
Peter Diamond's
we're kissing the pontifical slippers, but there's no feet in them.
No.
Oh wow.
So close to like
new levels of crazy.
What's that guy
Anything
from
but
Minnesota
orthodoxy.
Well, there's Bishop Strickland.
Mario Dirksen.
Yeah, so that level, or maybe even closer to like the Diamond Brothers type. Honestly,
the Diamond Brothers.
I say that they seem to be my consistent, but I don't want to focus on that. But
orthodoxy.
Yeah.
No, that means you can start saying Eastern
Peter Diamond is certainly my favorite president. So yeah.
I was gonna just ask, who wants to go squat up at Most Holy Family basketball court with me? Like,
oh
get plane tickets. Let's all hang out there. You know, have some brewskis. Like, play some basketball. I think that sounds good.
Yeah.
After that,
I do think that the Diamond Brothers raise some good points occasionally. I think my issue
now
is their
the Diamond Brothers make some good points. They're like complete like
I think
stands
that's too
and
big
liars.
of a one to square away with me, but
no, I agree. That's a major issue. I think it's just clearly patristic and clearly
just
part of the Catholic tradition. So
yeah, because you can see it in all the doctors of the church and even popes, for that matter. But
if fanboys of relativism were one panel, Saint Stefan, are warned about this. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. That is exactly what this is. It's just what the worst part is that the thing is titled "Why I'm Not Eastern Orthodox," and it's they won't actually ever discuss why they're not with an Orthodox.
Which concept?
It's just
the denial of
it's a big
of the salvific
self-congratulating patting on the back.
The desire of baptism.
Yeah, just the concept of baptism's own desire.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be as extreme as John Chrysostom, who denied that catechumens could be saved because they were not baptized. I just think that we should rather just leave it to, let's say, higher silence, because I grant I'm not. I think Peter Diamond misreads the fathers, because you can clearly see that a lot of the church fathers affirmed the validity of baptism's desire. I just think the scriptural case for it is rather weak, so I would prefer not to declare with certainty that.
Oh, that's my position too. I don't want to.
Father Seraphim Rose is highly venerated. I know of one synod that was considering glorifying him.
I think I disagree. I just when Christ said, "Unless you are born again with water and the Spirit, you cannot enter the kingdom of God." I hope that God saves people with faith who aren't baptized. I don't think I have the prerogative.
The fate of the unbaptized is not really in dispute.
So clear. I would just leave it to a merciful God to make that judgment.
It's interesting because Saint Augustine appeals to the passage where our Lord says, "Whoever professes me before men shall be saved," and he
what
says
does this have to do with
orthodoxy?
Why they're not orthodoxy?
Where he talks about baptism of blood, where if you're martyred for the faith,
they're just reciting Diamond Brothers stuff now. That's where we
but then again,
crawl back to when we have no real answer to orthodoxy.
How could the thief on the cross be saved not having been baptized? And Saint Augustine kind of seems like he has this idea that baptism is absolutely necessary, because he says maybe the thief was baptized and just was a baptized.
Yeah, we're not exactly sure. It looks like this is a combo Catholic,
flowing from the
Anglo-Catholic
splashed onto the thief
kind of
that's
forum.
Kind of how he was baptized.
I call it the anything but orthodoxy
kind
forum.
of far-flung arguments seem.
By the way, nice Buc-ee's logo.
That Saint Augustine had some notion that baptism was necessary.
My favorite argument for the thief on the cross is actually that he was baptized, and the baptism was actually, if you read Romans 6, what is baptism? It is union with the death of Christ.
Oh, James,
and he was literally
Anglican
united with the death of Christ in faith.
I think it's
okay. So this is kind of like a Legion of Doom that's getting together to fight orthodoxy. They're just we are all united against orthodoxy.
So he was saved through the harrowing of hell.
This is painful.
I think it's super simple.
This is harrowing. I will say that.
There's so many arguments. I have to deal with those with my Baptist friends and family. So
yeah. But with that being said, it's getting a bit late here, so I think I have to thank you, knowledgeable,
well, guys,
polite,
it's been fun.
Thank you so much for this wonderful
this
conversation.
Weird ecumenical slam on orthodoxy.
Yeah, definitely. And I was actually planning to close it out soon because I knew you had to go. So I really appreciated this conversation. Thank you all for joining.
Sort of Suicide Squad.
I think we got a lot of really good points brought up. I really think you guys had some great insights on everything. So yes, you all have a wonderful afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and God bless.
Thank you so much, and God bless all of you. And thank you again for inviting us all.
Definitely. Yep.
Well, they're gone now. Oh, Patrick Bartholomew. Okay, let's kill that. Well, that was mildly entertaining in response to mildly infuriating when they really did not. There were actually a few Orthodox voices in the chat that I recognized, most notably Gene Apologetics. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, Bellarmite was like, "Oh, sorry, didn't mean to, ban NFTU." I'm like, "What? Seriously? Like, this is like so bad faith." This sort of stuff. They're willing to even to get together with liturgical Protestants to make a case like, we are united against the orthodoxy, and it's just like, and then it became, as a lot of people said at the beginning, a giant hug box. That's this is the state. I was going to say of Roman Catholic apologetics, but now thanks to the chat, I realize it's ecumenical apologetics. Whatever. Anyway, guys, we'll see you on Sunday, and I'm going to put together some clips, God willing, today, and hopefully we'll have that article done. So, Christ is risen from the dead, trampling down death by death, and on those in the tombs bestowing life. Have a great day. Yeah, so, okay, well, this is, I will finish this off because it's a nice way to close it. As an ex-Romanist by birth, they don't want to be shown up by as true Orthodox. It's cultural. In the words of an Irish convert, I don't attend Mass, but I support Celtic. Take care, all. God bless. Have a good night.